Today we're talking about an upcoming game that I am very excited for, and also one that's been delayed a fair few times. Persona 5 was originally slated for winter of 2014, which didn't exactly pan out so well. After such an incredibly long wait, P5 is finally coming out on April 4th this year. But why should you care, and what's all the hype about? Today I'll tell you exactly why you want to play this game and why you should absolutely be hyped. Persona 5 is based on the long-running Persona series, which is sort of a spin-off of the Shin Megami Tensei series. The last core title was Persona 4 Golden for the Vita, that remains one of, if not the best release for the console today. P4 Golden was a remaster of Persona 4 that originally launched on the PS2 a whole 9 years ago. The series, being a JRPG, has always been rather niche by nature. Despite how loved it is, however, with the Vita release, people have become more aware of the series and how great it is. Persona's had a fair few spin-offs, from fighting games to even a rhythm game that released towards the end of 2015 that was surprisingly good. Persona is a unique blend of traditional turn-based RPG dungeon crawler and life sim, with the social elements arguably being the main draw of the series. The series follows a bunch of teens that are thrust upon a situation and World of Shadows where they must save the world and along the way conquer their own issues. And that's part of what makes Persona so special. It doesn't stray away from personal problems, ones that many people may find they themselves struggle with, or ones that really aren't that explored in video games very often. You choose how you want to split your time in the game, between the dungeons and fighting or the social real life sections. How you spend your time in the real world can positively affect you for battles in the dungeons, building relationships through social links, or as P5 now calls them, confidant ranks, or doing various other activities that will help strengthen your friends' personas and build your stats. The blend of these two elements gels extremely well and also lasts you a long time, with your average Persona title lasting you at least 50 hours just for the main story alone. Persona 5 makes a lot of improvements when it comes to its dungeons and battling. As far as I'm aware, it does away largely with randomly generated dungeons, which allows for much better designs. P4's dungeons were ultimately pretty similar at their core, aside from some aesthetic differences and themes with simple box rooms and small corridors. Now dungeons seem to be far more distinct from one another, having verticality and even some seemingly platforming-esque elements, as well as a stealth system when it comes to beginning battles, allowing you to approach enemies differently. Story-wise, Persona 5 is the darkest to date, however it won't be absent of plenty of comical moments you'll enjoy. The game places you in the shoes of a 16-year-old high schooler known simply as the protagonist, your name yourself, who's moved to a new school in Tokyo as part of a probation after getting into some trouble with the law, and it doesn't take long before things kick off. You meet your team along the way and eventually form a vigilante group with your newly discovered personas, where you'll tackle supernatural shadows in a place known as the Palace, which serves as the dungeons you'll explore. That's all I'm going to say on the plot. I've tried to be as brief as possible, as it's a game you'll absolutely want to explore in full on your own. The plot may sound like your typical anime nonsense, however Persona stories run incredibly deep and are well told, that with character development is my favourite aspect about the series. It's hard to talk about Persona 5 without talking about its art style and animation, because it's pretty damn awesome and sleek as hell. You can tell they poured so much love and attention into the game and haven't skimped out anywhere. Even simply the menus and UI, which stand out so much for their quality. Graphically, the game, despite at its core being a PS3 game ported to the PS4, is pretty impressive, largely down to the aforementioned reasons, and certainly won't disappoint. Persona 4, from an aesthetic point of view, I really enjoyed, and Persona 5 makes massive improvements. Dungeons are extremely well designed and the real world feels packed to the brim with lots of detail and people around. In conclusion, Persona 5 doesn't try to revolutionise anything, and it doesn't need to, as from the looks of things it appears to excel in every area. From the soundtrack, art style, animation, story to the gameplay, and well, you get the point. You don't need to have played any of the previous entries in the series if you're a newcomer, so jumping into Persona 5 is extremely easy, and a move you most likely won't regret. If it's anything like Persona 3 or 4, the game will leave a mark on you for years to come, with genuine characters you can connect with. There's few games prior to release in this day and age that I feel confident will deliver on every front, and if you're going to buy at least one game this year, at least consider checking out Persona 5. That's it for today. Let me know if this video piqued your interest in the game and if you'll be picking it up or not. Be sure to click one of the two thumbnails on screen now to watch one of my previous videos, and follow me on Twitter to receive updates and help me pick future topics. Join me in the next video soon with a new episode of Gaming Origins.